Hello friends, I am Arpit and I am here with today's analysis. Today is 7th of April and we are going to deal with two very important topics which are in news. First is NATO at the rate 75. North Atlantic Treaty Organization has completed 75 years of its existence. It was formed in the year 1949 as a military alliance. This organization is based on the concept of collective defense or collective security, which simply means that if any one of the member is attacked by a non-member, then all the members will attack that non-member. There are multiple challenges also which this organization is facing, like uniformity in military defense by all the member nations. Second is internal disturbances between the member nations, like for example, European nations and America. There are differences. There was a difference where Turkey was not wanting Sweden and Finland to become part of NATO. So NATO has to overcome these challenges if it has to sustain its operations in the times to come. Next is, how are symbols allotted to political parties? So first of all, Election Commission of India, according to the symbols order of 1968, allots symbols to political parties. There are two types of political parties. First is registered and recognized political parties. They can be national parties or state parties. Their symbols are reserved. The second is registered unrecognized political parties. Their symbols are not reserved and they have to apply every time from the Election Commission of India, and symbols are issued to them on first come first serve basis. There are certain other criteria also, like they have to secure 1% vote in the last state elections which were there. So during this election season, this issue has again popped up where two political parties from Tamil Nadu have not got their previous symbols. Now, let us look at both the topics in detail. Now, NATO as an organization came in existence in the year 1949. That is why you are, seeing that NATO is celebrating 75 years of independence, 75 years of its existence. And at that time, only 12 members were there. So, from 1949 till 2024, it has gone from 12 to 32. So it is no doubt getting bigger, stronger, and more united than ever. But there are challenges also in this organization which we will be assessing. 32 member states, most it has ever had. That may be true in one regard. It faces significant challenges which needs to be taken into consideration as well. And its expansion has been witnessed in the recent years, like from 2022, if I assess, there have been two more countries which have been added, Sweden and Finland. Sweden and Finland, both countries were previously considered neutral on any conflict between Russia and the West. But after witnessing Russia's aggression in Ukraine, these two countries have decided to join NATO. And here, by 2024, they are members of NATO. On this anniversary, Kremlin spokesperson. Kremlin is basically the parliament of Russia. Now, enemy or the target of NATO actually can be anyone. Anyone who attacks any of these member states. But largely, the hot, or I would say most potential target of NATO is Russia. Why Russia? Because see, when NATO was formed in the year 1949, this was the period when the Cold War was going on. Cold War was kind of a, I would say, silent conflict which was going on between two blocks, the capitalist bloc and the socialist bloc. Capitalist bloc which was dominated by USA and Western European countries, and on the other side, socialist bloc which was dominated by USSR. So this was formed to create a deterrence by the West European countries and America, the capitalist bloc. This NATO was formed by. In response, USSR also formed another, military alliance that was known as the Warsaw Pact. It was formed in 1955, 6 years after NATO. Although these two, I would say, military alliances, Warsaw Pact and NATO, never had a direct confrontation with each other. But since then, NATO's, I would say, prime target was USSR, which was dominated by Russia. After disintegration of USSR in 1991, Russia was there, which was causing problems for the West. And here in 2022, we've seen Russia causing problems for the West again. In 2014, when Russia annexed Crimea, again problems for the West were there. So NATO is one of the prime targets or potential targets is Russia. Although no attacks have been done by NATO on Russia as of now. Ukraine was wanting to become part of NATO. It's still wanting to become part of NATO, but it is not part of NATO. If Ukraine becomes part of NATO, then in this particular conflict, the conflict will not be Russia versus Ukraine, it would be Russia versus NATO, because a non-member country, that is Russia, would be attacking a member country, that is Ukraine. So this is basically the reason. And what does Russia has to say? Means the Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov spoke to reporters about Russia's ties with NATO, saying relations have now slipped to the level of direct confrontation. Means direct confrontation is possible between Russia and the NATO forces. In that case, if Ukraine becomes part of NATO, it is quite possible. Why was NATO established? वैसे तो I've told you this. Why was NATO established? It was established on April 4, 1949 with 12 founding members. So UPSC can be tricky and ask you which of the following were the founding members. So you have to remember or memorize the names of these founding members. There are 12 founding members, and it was established in the Cold War era to create a deterrence. It was established by the capitalist bloc, and deterrence had to be created for the socialist bloc, which was dominated by USSR. Now, NATO also has a UN connection. The UN connection, before understanding that UN connection, we need to first understand that can countries come together to form such kind of a military alliance where, if any non-member is attacking any of the members, all of these members attack that non-member? Is it, I would say, does it have legal sanction? Or does it have any, I would say, sanction of the United Nations? Yes, it does have. Actually, Article 51 of the UN Charter, mentioned in it that, countries can come into such kind of organizations and form military alliances. Hence, NATO has that backing of Article 51 of the United Nations Charter. So this is the connection, NATO United Nations connection. And similarly, on the same lines, Warsaw Pact, which was formed by the socialist group, also had the backing of Article 51 of the United Nations Charter. So this particular NATO is also called as Washington Treaty because it was signed in Washington on April 4, 1949. Now, what is collective defense? At the very heart of this alliance, that is NATO, lies the concept of collective security or collective defense. The concept is an attack on any one of the members by a non-member has to be responded by all the members. That has to be considered as an attack on all, and that has to be responded accordingly. So many times students have asked questions, sir, what if a member of NATO attacks a member of NATO? Then what happens? Then in that case, it is a bilateral war. And generally, countries will intervene, the powerful countries will intervene to dissipate that war. If that does not get dissipated, then it will be a bilateral war. No one else will participate in that. Now, what was the need for such a treaty to be adopted? Cold War rivalry was the major reason behind that. Now, which provision of the Washington Treaty entails collective defense? Article 5 of the Washington Treaty has provisions with respect to collective defense. To counter the risk that the Soviet Union would seek to extend its control of Eastern Europe to other parts of the continent. So, on the other hand, the Soviet bloc, means the socialist bloc, was expanding. So, this NATO was adopted, and in Article 5 of this Washington Treaty, the concept of collective defense, that is, if any member nation is attacked by a non-member nation, then all of them will attack that attacker. But another big question is it compulsory on all the members to attack, or is it compulsory on all the members to contribute in equal measure? Now here comes the question, does it necessitate direct military action or direct military intervention by all the members? Now you would be surprised to know that it doesn't necessitate direct military intervention constituting all members. The scale of action is dependent on each member country as it deems necessary. But you cannot, you know, completely deny. Like if I am a member of NATO and some other member of NATO has been attacked by a non-member, then Article 5 will be invoked and we will have to launch a collective attack on that non-member country who attacked one of the member countries. So in that case, you know, I will not be bound to contribute in equal measure like all other countries are contributing. It will depend on my will, but I cannot completely deny कि भाई I'll not attack that non-member country at all. I cannot, because I'm part of this treaty. So as per my capacity, I will have to do that or whatever is necessary. Now the big question is, has Article 5 been invoked till now? Yes, it has only been invoked one time. The only time it has been invoked was after the 9/11 attacks. 9/11 attacks was done on USA by Al Qaeda, an Afghanistan based terrorist organization. And after that, USA launched two operations in Afghanistan, Operation Anaconda and Operation Enduring Freedom. Actually, in Afghanistan, the aim of these operations was to wipe off Al Qaeda as well as wipe off Taliban. Taliban was the political, ruling, I would say, organization in Afghanistan at that time in 2001. For 20 years in Afghanistan, the NATO forces were deployed. Not the American forces, but the NATO forces were deployed because a NATO member country was attacked by a non-NATO member country. And of the deployment in Afghanistan, US soldiers dominated because the USA had the capacity, and every other member contributed in their capacity of NATO. Every other member of NATO contributed in their capacity in Afghanistan, and for 20 years they stayed over there. Now, when I talk about the membership of NATO, in this chart, if you go through this chart, you will see the membership of NATO over the years. In 1949, when it was established, there were 12 members, which we have seen this. Then 1950s, Greece and Turkey joined. 1955, Federal Republic of Germany joined. Then 1982, Spain joined. Czech Republic, Hungary, Poland joined in 1999. 2004, a lot of countries joined: Bulgaria, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Romania, Slovakia, Slovenia. Many of them were also part of USSR at that time, before USSR was there. 2009, Albania and Croatia joined. 2017, Montenegro joined. 2019, North Macedonia joined. 2023, Finland joined, and finally 2024, Sweden joined. So you need to know the members, because the number is not so high, that is 32 only, and knowing of these members is important because UPSC can ask a question on this. Now comes to the challenges faced by NATO. See, no doubt it is a very, I would say, big organization. It is such an organization which can create a lot of impact on world affairs. It can change the way, or it has the potential to change the world order, I would say. But there are 32 members, and there might be a situation where the members must be having different, I would say, orientations, and these different orientations can lead to challenges. Like, for example, the first different orientation is unequal military spending by the members. In 2014, when Russia annexed Crimea, it was decided by the NATO members that all the NATO members will bring up their defense expenditure to at least 2% of their GDP. Was it followed? In 2019, there were clear tensions between the members. US President Donald Trump argued that the countries needed to raise their military spending. Why Donald Trump argued? Because USA had been spending a lot, and USA no doubt was the biggest spender. And there was this growing feeling in USA that why me always? Why do I have to spend more? Other countries also should spend more. This will definitely contribute in strengthening NATO as an organization and reduce the burden on USA. So this was there. Trump criticized this, saying it was unfair to countries like the US, who is doing the requisite spending. As of 2023, 30 member countries were there, part of NATO. Finland did not become a part of NATO by then. After this, only Finland became a part of NATO. So this data is just before Finland becoming a part of NATO. So out of these 30 member countries, 11 only spent more than the limit, that is 2% of the GDP, of their respective GDPs. Now, Donald Trump has vowed that if he becomes the president in the upcoming presidential elections, which are scheduled in November 2024, then he will take strict action over here. Those countries who are not willing to spend much on their defense expenditure, they may be expelled as well. So, problems can increase in this organization if Donald Trump comes to power in USA. So, this is one such challenge, unequal spending. Another is difference between the member countries. Now, while NATO has a liberal open door policy for membership, means countries who are there in this region, that is North Atlantic region, this is North Atlantic Ocean, east and west of North Atlantic Ocean, anyone can become a member of NATO. That is the open door policy of NATO. All members need to ratify the entry of new applicant for it to become a member. Now, what happens is if any proposal comes to NATO, ki bhai, this country wants to be a member. So then all the existing members of NATO have to ratify this proposal in their respective parliaments. Like let's suppose I'm America and a proposal came from Sweden that Sweden wants to become a member of NATO. So I will pass it in my parliament, and if my parliament agrees to it that Sweden should become a member of NATO, then only it will become. And likewise, every country ratification has to be done by every country. So membership of Sweden and Finland was being blocked by Turkey. Turkey was not willing to pass this particular resolution in its respective parliament, and since Turkey was not willing to pass it, they were not able to become members. It was only in 2023 for Finland and 2024 for Sweden where Turkey agreed, passed this resolution in the respective parliament. The other countries had already passed that. Then only these countries became part of NATO. Then in 2019, French President Emmanuel Macron said there was a lack of strategic coordination between European allies on one hand and United States and Turkey on the other hand. So, United States and Turkey on the other hand, European countries on the other hand. Now, we should also understand that why Turkey was opposing the membership of Finland and Sweden. Actually, Finland and Sweden had recognized certain groupings as freedom fighters or, as non-terrorists, which Turkey had labeled them as terrorist organizations. These countries, Finland and Sweden, were also very vocal in criticizing Turkey on the fact that Turkey had been violating human rights of those organizations or those people. So there were these kind of differences which hindered the ratification for these members by Turkey. Now, funding the Russia-Ukraine war. There has been, a Secretary General of United Nations, NATO, suggested creating a 5-year, $107 billion fund for funding this particular war. But this proposal of the Secretary General drew mixed reactions from the members. Means all the members were not agreeing on, making this particular fund. That is $107 billion fund for funding this Russia-Ukraine war by the NATO members. So these kind of differences are there which are posing challenges. Unequal military spending is another challenge which can intensify if the Donald Trump administration is established in the United States of America by the end of this year. So this needs to be looked into. Next is, how are symbols allotted to political parties? This is a very, very important piece of news because elections are there around the corner. But why this has popped up as a topic, why this is in news? Because there are two political parties in picture. First is the NTK, Nam Tamilar Kachi party, and the second is VCK, that is Viduthalai Chiruthaigal Kachi party. These two parties, NTK, talking about NTK, it secured 3.9% and 6.5% votes in Tamil Nadu in 2019 and 2021 respectively. And this political party has been allotted a symbol called as mic. The Viduthalai Chiruthaigal Kachi This party, VCK, has secured 1.09% and 0.99% votes in 2019 and 2021 respectively, and has been denied a common symbol, that is pot. Now, why it has been denied? Why it has been given this symbol of mic? Because, earlier the symbol of NTK was a Ganna Kisan symbol, but now it has been given this symbol mic. That we need to understand, and we will understand this by the entire procedure if we learn the entire procedure, that how are symbols allotted to political parties. To start with, we should first know the answer to this question: who issues the symbol? So it is clear, Election Commission of India issues this symbol, and these symbols are issued on a criteria by Election Commission of India. Criteria is national party, state party. These two parties are called as recognized parties, and the other parties are called as non-recognized. Now, actually, you will read about another term, registered and recognized parties. So, in order to contest the election, you have to be registered as a political party with Election Commission of India. So, every political party which is contesting elections is registered. Now, after getting registered, it depends on your performance in the past elections whether you are recognized as a national party or a state party. I will tell you the criteria also. To be recognized as a national party, to be recognized as a state party. So let's suppose you are recognized as a national party, so you will be registered recognized national party. But if you are not falling under any of these two categories, you will be a registered non-recognized party. Registered non-recognized party. So that is what we need to understand. So this is there. This classification is done by the Election Commission of India, and then accordingly symbols are allotted. There are different separate rules for allotting symbols, and these rules are guided by the Election Symbols Reservation and Allotment Order 1968 by the Election Commission of India. Now you might be wondering, sir, why symbols are needed? Political parties do have names as well, like the Bharatiya Janata Party or the Indian National Congress or the Aam Aadmi Party or Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam, like this. Why symbols are needed? Basically, symbols were introduced to facilitate the illiterate population. They were not able to read, but they will be able to identify the symbols. That is why symbols were introduced. And in the 1960s, there was this order also, the Election Symbols Reservation and Allotment Order, which I would say regulates the allotment of symbols by Election Commission of India to the political parties, whether non-recognized or recognized political parties. Now, since we're talking about recognized and non-recognized parties, so in recognized, first kind of party is the state party. So a registered party is recognized as a state party only if it fulfills any one of the 5 conditions listed below. First is, a party should secure at least 6% of valid votes polled in an election to the state legislative assembly and win at least 2 seats in that state assembly. Second is, a party should secure at least 6% of valid votes polled in an election to the Lok Sabha and win at least 1 seat in the Lok Sabha. A party should win at least 3% of the total number of seats or a minimum of 3 seats in the legislative assembly, whichever is higher. Fourth condition, a party should win at least 1 seat in the Lok Sabha for every 25 seats or any fraction thereof allotted to that state. And the last one is a more liberal clause, that is, it will be eligible for recognition as a state party if it secures 8% or more of the total valid votes polled in the states. So any one of these conditions is being, satisfied with a political party, then that political party will be recognized as a state party. Remember, any political party which has to contest election has to be registered. After getting registered, you are only allowed to contest polls. And then according to your performance in the polls, you are recognized or non-recognized. Recognized, maybe there are 2 categories. One is state party and the other one is the national party. Now, a registered party is recognized as a national party only if it fulfills again any one of the 3 conditions. First is, the party wins 2% of the seats in Lok Sabha from at least 3 different states. Then at a general election to Lok Sabha or Legislative Assembly, the party polls 6% of the votes in any 4 or more states, and in addition it wins 4 Lok Sabha seats. And the third condition is the party gets recognized as a state party in 4 states. So any one of these conditions is getting fulfilled, that party will be recognized as a national party. Now, what are the rules for allotment of symbols? So first of all, if you have become a national party, your symbol is reserved for your party all across the country. Nobody or no other political party can use your symbol if you are a national party. Okay. But if you are a state party, you are recognized as a state party, your symbol will be reserved for your party in that particular state only where you are recognized as a state party. In other states, if you are wishing to contest elections, and if in that state no other recognized state party is having that symbol, then you can use it. But if any state party in that particular state is having that same symbol, you will have to change your symbol. So let's look at this in more details. Now, as per Election Commission or Election Symbols Reservation and Allotment Order 1968, the Election Commission allots symbols. We know that already. A person contesting on behalf of a recognized political party will inherit the party symbol. Recognized means national or state. An independent candidate or someone contesting on behalf of an unrecognized political party has to approach the commission and get a symbol allotted from the list of free symbols available. So we will see to this in detail. A candidate will have to provide 3 symbols from the free list at the time of submission of nomination papers, one of which will be allotted or allocated to him or her. Any choice other than from the EC's list will be summarily rejected by the Election Commission. Now, this is very much important. In the case of recognized political party, the commission allows it to reserve a symbol. Recognized political party means national or state. Okay. So if you are a national party, your symbol is reserved all over the country. Okay. But if you are a state party, then things are different. So we'll see. For example, if a political party recognized in a particular state wishes to contest in elections in another state, it can reserve the symbol being used by it. The commission will oblige provided the symbol is not being used by anyone else. 2 or more recognized political parties can have the same symbol provided they are not contenders in the same state or union territory. This is in case of a state party. Now, see, example we have both Federal Party of Manipur and DMK, Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam, use rising sun as their symbol. They can use that symbol if they are contesting state elections in their respective states. DMK in Tamil Nadu, where it is recognized as a state party, and Federal Party of Manipur in Manipur, where it is recognized as a state party. But if one of the parties wish to open their account in the other state, it will have to contest on a different symbol. See, if DMK wishes to go to Manipur and contest elections, then DMK will have to change its symbol because they're already a registered state party, that is Federal Party of Manipur, is already having that symbol, and that party is registered as a state party in that state. So their DMK has to change its symbol. This is what it means. Now, can any party be derecognized also from a state party or a national party? Yes, if those criteria are not met, then the political party can be derecognized also. ECI may derecognize a political party if it has not polled at least 6% of votes, won 2 seats in the state elections. In case of a national party, it should have polled minimum 6% votes and 2 MLAs in the at least 4 states. So if these criteria are not met, then Election Commission of India can derecognize that political party from a state party or a national party. But remember, that party will be registered unrecognized. Now, until 1997, what happened was, if you become non-recognized or derecognized, you fail to meet the criteria of becoming a national party or a state party, then Election Commission of India took away your symbols. You lost your symbols. But later, the Election Commission modified its order to allow them to retain their symbols. So this happened. What happens in case of a party split? See, in that case, it depends on the discretion of Election Commission of India. Election Commission of India decides which faction can use the symbol. The commission may also choose to freeze the symbol, not give that symbol to any of the factions. This is the prerogative of Election Commission of India. This happened when in Maharashtra that party split of Shiv Sena happened. Now, what has happened in the current case? Those two political parties, which we saw, so we'll see what happened in the current case. So, Rule 10B of the symbols order provided that the concessions of a common free symbol can be available for a registered unrecognized party for two general elections. See, first of all, we will also have to see symbols. Two types of symbols. First is common. I'm talking about free symbols because among the free symbols we have to use common symbols and purely free symbols. So common symbols can be used or they are in use by one political party or the other political party. Free symbols are completely free. You can choose among from them. Now, whenever a registered unrecognized party means neither it is a state party nor it is a central party, a symbol is allotted to this kind of party. It is allotted for two general elections. Okay, but there are further conditions. That party shall be eligible for a common symbol in any subsequent general election if it had secured at least 1% votes polled in the state assembly elections in the previous elections. So let's suppose I am political party X. I am an unrecognized party. I have been allotted the symbol of pen, let's suppose, for this general elections. So this symbol pen will be there for me or for my party in this general elections and the next general elections. But there is a condition for this pen to be there for me in the next general election. Why? Because in the middle there are state elections between the two general elections. And in these state elections, I have to secure minimum 1% of the votes polled. Then only I will be eligible for this symbol in the next general election. Such unrecognized party will have to apply for a symbol every time. The symbols are allotted thereafter on first come first serve basis. Now let's suppose I got this pen as a symbol in the first general election. I was eligible for it in the second general elections also. Like general elections here, general elections here. I have been allotted pen as a symbol. But here in the middle, there are state legislative assembly elections. In the state legislative assembly elections, 1% of the votes have to be polled by me, means my party should get at least 1% of the votes polled. If this happens, then I will be eligible for getting this symbol over here also. But I will have to apply for it. And first come, first serve basis, I will be given this particular symbol. So this is the criteria or this is the process. Now, although NTK secured more than 1% votes, NTK had that symbol of Ganna Kisan over here. 1% votes were secured by it in the assembly elections in 2019-21. 2021 will be considered because it is the latest. Then this NTK party was eligible for Ganna Kisan over here also in the present general elections in 2024. But it did not get that symbol because another political party chose to take that symbol before this NTK applied. So that other political party was Bharatiya Praja Aikata Party. Got that symbol of Ganna Kisan over here because it applied before NTK. And NTK is now fighting on that symbol of Mike. Then VCK was denied allotment of a common symbol. Common symbol के लिए ये criteria है, ये सारे means this entire procedure is for a common symbol for a unrecognized party. Why VCK was denied? Because it failed to secure 1% of the votes polled in the previous elections. It only secured 0.99%. 0.01% was missed. So this party VCK will be getting a symbol from the list of free symbols, not common symbols. So it has got that symbol of pot now. So this is the entire story which we need to understand. Now let's come to the MCQs. Which of the following countries were the founding members of NATO? This is factual but not easy. So you have to have those 12 countries in your head. Then only you will be able to answer this question. Second is consider the following statements and mark the correct one. NATO is a system of collective defense where all the member nations are under obligation to contribute equally with respect to troops and budget. Second is NATO drives its powers from the UN Charter. So which of these statements are correct? Which of the following is the criteria for a party to be labeled as a state party? It is completely factual but not easy. You have to have that in your mind that What are the criteria? Those 5 points you have to have clearly in your mind, then only you will be able to answer this question. Then the fourth question, consider the following statements and mark the correct statement. Two or more recognized political parties can have the same symbol, provided they are not contenders in the same state or union territory. In case a recognized political party splits, the commission can freeze the symbol. So, which of these are true? And last is, consider the following statements with respect to registered, unrecognized parties and mark the correct one. First is, the concession of a common free symbol shall be available for a registered unrecognized party for 2 general elections. Second is, unrecognized party will have to apply for a symbol every time. Only one, only two, both, or neither. So these kind of questions become very important for prelims this year, because there are elections, and from elections multiple questions can be created in prelims as well as in mains. So we need to take care of these kind of small things in order to answer these questions correctly. And with this, we come to an end of today's session. I will be meeting you tomorrow now with more such informative news pieces. Some of you have started answering all the 5 questions correctly, but yes, I expect more of such students. And I also urge you students to share these kind of videos or these daily videos in your respective groups, so that more and more people get to know about these kind of daily developments which are happening, and they are also able to understand and participate in this 5 question quiz which we play daily. So I hope you will be doing that. And with this, we come to an end of today's session. I will be meeting you tomorrow now with more such informative news pieces. Till then, you guys take care. Very well know what to do also, not repeating it. Namaste. Jai Hind.